and we'll get started. All right, so thanks guys for joining me on this live training call for the Investment Dominator. Like I said last time, we're going to do these half-hour training calls every Monday and Thursday. Excluding next week, I'll be out of town, but on Monday, but we'll be again back on Thursday to do the call. So I'm going to start these calls with just going over one item that has come up frequently and kind of like a training topic, and then we'll just open it up for questions and answers for the rest of the call. All right, and we went a little bit long last time, so I'll try to keep it short this time and keep it to the half hour. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and close down this questions window here for the time being, and I'm going to show you one of the questions I get is when you get to the part where you're actually marketing your property. So we're kind of skipping ahead from last week when we talked about just starting the first steps when you get into the Investment Dominator, and we're kind of pushing to the part where you actually have a property under contract and you are starting to market it. And I know a lot of you are at that stage already because I've gotten some questions about that. And I want to cover, for those of you that are at that stage, what you would do, some techniques that we do to market the property as it relates to the Investment Dominator. So one of the questions we've got is how do we create these pictures with the outlines of the properties that we use in our marketing pieces? This is a great picture to use because it shows the interested parties the boundaries of your lot. It shows them it kind of starts that process of dream building so that they can imagine if they were going to build a house on it, where the house might be situated in relation to the lot. They can also see what's around the lot. So I'm going to go over how we get that image. Now, the good news is these days, the counties, a lot of the counties will actually provide this image to you through their GIS system. It wasn't always like this. We actually, when I first started working for Jack, we had to do everything manually because none of the counties had these GIS systems, or maybe there was one or two, but not a whole lot of them had it. Nowadays, it seems like the majority of the counties have GIS systems, and they produce these images with the outlines of the properties. So I'm going to actually show you the easy way, and I'm going to show you the more difficult way if you're working in a county that's more rural, if I say that right. Then you might not have a GIS system to work with because there are a few counties out there that don't have that yet. So I'm going to show you both methods so that you know how to do this. So here's my little demo app that I'm playing around with, and here's a property in here. And one thing that we do in a new county is, so this one is in Lee County, and here's the APN number. The first thing I want to do is I want to see if Lee County has a GIS system. So what you can do is start with just good old friend Google here, and just type in Lee County, Florida, and then property assessor or appraiser. Now in Florida they call it an appraiser, but it could be called the assessor, the appraiser, the appraisal district, like in Texas. So these are all names for the kind of like the mothership of the county that holds a lot of the data. So we always start there, and it's usually official here when they have like all these little links about property searches and things like that. So here's the site, and Lee County Property Appraiser, and they ask for a parcel number to look up a property. So I can just paste in this number here and bring up the property. Now this should be the same owner here. So Herbert is the first name, McGee. So they always put things backwards. So this is the first name, the last name. So this is the right person. Now you want to click on parcel details. And please note that all counties don't look the same, but they generally kind of function this way. They generally have a property parcel search. Like, just to give you an example, I'll look up Maricopa County assessor. And actually, I'm going to type in, yeah, here's the site here. So you can see this site looks totally different, but it does have a parcel search, which functions the exact same way as the one we just did here. It just looks differently. So I just want to bring that out. The government is not, good about keeping all the counties with the same tools and the same databases and the same website structure. So just be aware of that. And if you have questions about it, the best way is to actually just call the county, call them up and ask them, like, hey, how do you navigate your site? How do you look up a property? Do you have a GIS system? Just ask them questions directly, because they're the ones that are in charge of the website. So they can help you out, especially if you're working in any new area. Now, this is an example of a county that has all the GIS systems, data already loaded into their website here, because you can see here on the right-hand side that there is an outline of the property. And this is what we would use, as a marketing piece. Now, this picture right here is not a very good picture to use because it doesn't show context. All we can see from here is that there's a tree right here, and there's what appears to be a dirt road, but we don't know if there's any houses around or if it's located near like a Home Depot or what it is. So there's no context. So we might not even use this as our marketing picture, but one thing that we can do is you can look at the tax map viewer. I'm just at this point, I'm just clicking around here to see what they have, because they have an aerial viewer as well, so we can take a look at that as well. But this is kind of what we want to do, is get into their GIS system. And with this system, you can actually scroll out with your mouse and zoom out of the property and see what's around there. As you zoom in, I think the aerial footage comes into play here, but you can kind of move it around so that you can see if there's any houses around. That's typically what we try to look for. Here's a house over here. Because houses indicate that there's some kind of utilities, right? In most areas, at least. Is that, or at least it indicates that these people right here that own houses have figured out a way to get electricity, whether it's solar or they're connected to the city or whatever it may be. But it indicates to a potential buyer that there's people that live there and figured out how the sewer system works and electricity and all that kind of stuff. So therefore, it's a great picture to have like this. Now, one of the softwares that we use is a free software. It's called Jing. And how you find Jing is if you go to Google, type in J-I-N, J-I-N-G, if I can type. And then, actually, what I type in is download Jing. And the site that you're looking for is actually this one right here. It's very important that you download it from techsmith.com, because these other ones I don't think are actually Jing software. So they might be, for example, malware or so. But the official site that provides it is TechSmith. It's a product of TechSmith, and it's a free product. So if you go to techsmith.com/jing.html, that's actually the official site. I always find it on Google, but I just make sure that I'm at techsmith.com. And then over here to the right-hand side, there's a free download to the software. Now, TechSmith is the same company that makes like Snagit and all these other software, so and Screencast and Camtasia, things like that. But they offer Jing for free. And Jing is really good about giving you the ability to create screenshots. So one of the things we can do in this case is just, here's Jing right here, this little sunshine, and I can click this capture button, and I can just kind of click and drag around an area and capture the image. Now, what I can also do in Jing is take this little frame icon and kind of re-highlight this property in red so it stands out more. And then you can even draw arrows. So you can even say something like location of the lot. And then you can say, oops, you can do another arrow here to draw different, you know, point out the houses and say something like homes in the area. All right, so again, this indicates to somebody like, oh, okay, your lot is right here, but just down the road here, people are living, you know, it's not like in the middle of nowhere. People have figured out how to run utilities and things like that. It's all kind of implied through this picture. And a lot of people are visual, so you want to do stuff like this. Now, when you want to save this, you just go here at the bottom and click Save. This will download it to your computer, and you can just click Save. It downloads to your computer, and then you can upload it to the Investment Dominator. And in the Investment Dominator, all your uploads are at the bottom of the screen here, where it says, so I'm at the, if I go back here, what I did was I clicked on Edit, and this is where you have all your property information, and then down at the very bottom, you can click Locate File, and then here is where you can choose your files and upload them to your property record, okay? And this is just one of the pictures that we would use. Now, again, the more context that we have, the better. So if we can zoom out here and see, you know, where is this property in relation to the ocean, for example. I think this is the ocean, or it might be a river, I'm not sure. So we can figure it out. And then again, you can use Jing to point out the lot, because in this case, it's very small outline of the lot. So what you can do is, you know, once this loads, let's just say that this all loads here, and you can take another picture, draw an arrow to that lot and say, you know, location of the lot again. And then if we did find out what was around here, you know, like if we know this is the ocean, then you can just say that's the ocean. If you could find like this, you know, the closest mall or, you know, Home Depot or whatever, you could point to it and things like that. So this all gives context to people that are interested in the property. All right, now this is all great if your county has a GIS system like Lee County, Florida does, which is awesome. Now, if you're dealing with a more rural county, then you might not get this information. They just don't have that information. So in that case, what you'll want to do is you're going to be referencing a lot of times what's called a plat map, and most counties have a plat map, and the plat map is just literally this view right here, but it doesn't have any of the information of the like the satellite imagery. It's just the outline of the lot, and it has like the roads and things like that. And every county is going to have it. Some counties have it in a paper format, and they would actually maybe send you a PDF version of this. But you're going to use that to actually find your lot. So for example, if they give you some kind of a zip code for the address, because this right here is a situs address, then you could just go on Google and look up this address. So that you know, again, you would call the county, you would ask them like, how do you find this lot? And they would either give you a zip code, or they might give you what's called a township section and range, and you can use that to get a GPS coordinate. I'm not going to go over how to get the townships, you know, how to get a GPS coordinate off the township section and range right now, because that is covered in the course, and that's a kind of another topic to discuss. But let's just say that the county gives you some kind of a situs address and a copy of the plat map. So the plat map is going to outline the property, and the address is going to get you generally in the area, because on land they might not get you to the exact property, but it might get you onto the same street, for example, and then you can use the plat map to determine which one is your property. All right, just by counting the number of lots from the road intersection, for example, that's one way to find it. Or like in the case of like this property right here, where it's an odd-shaped property, you can easily identify that because of the cross streets and also the shape of the property. And you kind of just reference the plat map to do that. But let's just say that our property is this one right here, which is an odd-shaped property. Now, one thing I want to show you is that if you take Jing right now and you take a screenshot of this, you can point to the lot with an arrow, right? but you can't outline the lot in Jing because all Jing allows you to do is highlight a square. So as long as the property is rectangle or square or something like that, you're fine. But if the property looks like this, you're kind of out of luck when it comes to Jing. You could just point to it. And sometimes people can't see these lots right here. Now you could do something like this. It wouldn't be, great way to do it, but you could use Jing to, basically outline your property in arrows. I wouldn't recommend that. It doesn't look too professional, but I'm going to show you a different way. So then the other way that you can do this is you can, on your keyboard, there's actually a print screen command where you can copy, your entire screen. So if I just do that and do a print screen, it copies my screen here, and I can take it into another website called Sketch, and you'll see us refer to this quite a bit in our user guide. It's called sketch.io/sketchpad. Okay, sketch.io/sketchpad. It's just a free graphic software. We always reference it because it's free, it's easy to get to, and it allows you to do quite a bit of stuff. So basically with the print screen command, it copies your screen into the computer's memory, and you can actually paste that on this canvas. So if I can go over here, right click and hit paste, I should be getting an image of this. So here's my screen a screenshot that I took, and I can place that on here. Now the next thing I want to do is come back over here and go to the Earth view. So I'm going to click on this little box at the bottom, and it's going to give me a nice high resolution screenshot of the Google Earth image. And I'm going to, again, I'm not going to zoom in or anything like that. I'm not going to move the screen. I'm just going to be in the exact same position, and I'm going to hit print screen one more time. Okay, and then I'm going to come over here, right click, and then paste this. So now we've got basically two images. Now one thing that I kind of messed up here is you actually want this one right here on top of the satellite image. So what we can do is under this layers tab, I'm going to click on layers. I'm going to move the bottom image on top of the other image. So that just moves this on top of it. So what we can do now is put this one in the exact corner and then this one right on top of it. And again, we said we were pretending that this one right here is our lot. So in order to outline it in this program, you want to click on the pen tool, and then when you click on pen, it will give you more options. Okay, so again, I clicked on pen, and then I clicked on pen again, and then it gave me more options. Now the option that I want is called the line tool. All right, I'm going to click this line tool, but before I start clicking around on here, I'm going to change the color of the outline to red so it's a little bit more, I can see it. And then the line width down here at the bottom, I want to increase that to a thicker line width so it stands out. So right about, let's say a 5.5, if I can, or 5.6 is good. And then what I want to do is on the screen here is I want to click the top box here on my cursor. That's going to be like the corner of the lots. So every time I hit a corner, I'm going to click. So I'm going to start here, click. I'm going to start here, click. I'm going to go here, click, 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 click. And then I'm going to, you can see here if I end it, it highlights green. All right. So now that gives me a nice little indication of the lot. And what I can do now is I can come over here to the left-hand side, click on the select tool. And when I hit select tool, I can actually select this image again, and I can delete it because I don't need it anymore. And what's left is a perfect outline of the property, and it almost looks like the county GIS system. The only difference is that it doesn't show the other lots, around it, what their outline is. But it's actually a really great picture to use because this shows you, okay, this is actually the property, and then you can see the houses and a real nice resolution. The last thing that I want to do before I save this is click over here where it says crop, and then I'm going to crop around to a nice, looking image. So something like that looks good. Yeah, that looks good to me. And then I'm going to click apply crop, and now I have a very nice little image that I can now click export, save as a JPEG, and then I use that in my marketing piece. All right, so we do this quite a bit, and we don't just use one picture. We might zoom in even more, zoom out more to see, like I said, in relation to the ocean, zoom out even more to show like the relationship between where the property is in the state of Florida, and maybe even use Jing to then do something like this. You point to the lot, you point to Orlando, you point to Tampa, and it just gives a person a really good idea of where this property is in relation to the rest of the more popular areas. For example, a good one is to always show where the closest airport is. So like in this case, you might show Tampa would probably be the closest, or Miami. This gives a really good indication because most people know cities that have major airports in them. So that's all I wanted to show you in regards to this, and now I'm going to open up or just take a look at the questions that have come through and see if we can just start answering some questions. It might be about this, might be about something else, it doesn't matter. Go ahead and enter in your questions into the Google, the GoToWebinar chat box if you have any questions. All right, so I'm going to just go through here. Okay, so Daniel, is asking about where are the recordings of these calls being posted. Good question. If you go to the user guide, I did post last week's call or last Thursday's call already on the user guide. So that to answer your question, just go to user-guide.investmentdominator.com, or if you're in the Investment Dominator, you want to go up to the help section here and then click on user guide, and that's going to take you over here. And then I just named it, the date of the call, and you can see here, here's a summary of the call on the left-hand side, and then the video recording is over to the right. So you just click on that, and it will load the, the call from last week. All right. So let me go back here. I don't want to start that up while we're on this call. But and then once I get this recording up for this week or for today, I'm going to post in the same manner. All right, and then we did add actually a change log. That was one of the requests from last call. That was also added to the user guide. So basically, I'm trying to post everything to the user guide itself. For one, to get you everybody used to the user guide and how to navigate it and how to do searches on it for things using the search option at the top, but also just so everything is in one spot and it's easy to find. All right, so Carla says that my screen was frozen for a bit, so I apologize for that. I'm not sure if everybody was getting that. Let me know if my screen is frozen. Let's see, screen is stuck on the screen. Okay. I got a lot of comments that my screen was frozen. Unfortunately, I wasn't reading these while I was doing it, so you might have to refer to the recording when we're done, because the recording should pick up all of this stuff here. But I'll check the GoToMeeting real quick. Yep, the recording looks like it's working good. So hopefully the whole frozen screen has worked itself out. If not, go ahead and comment again, and I will see if I can do something about it. I'm not sure what I can do about it, but we'll see. All right, so a lot of people saying there's something wrong with the screen when I was showing the sketch thing. There could have been a conflict with GoToMeeting and Jing. I'm thinking that might be what happened there, but the audio seems to be fine. All right, so let's see here. A lot of them. Let me see if I can. I'm still getting comments that the screen is frozen. So let me actually disable the screen share for a second, and then I'm going to bring it back up. All right, can you guys see my screen moving around on the user guide right now? Okay. All right, so here's what we're going to do. So everybody's seeing it now. I'm not going to repeat that tutorial. What I am going to do is post this as a recording, and and I'll check the recording to make sure that it captured it. I believe there's some kind of a conflict with Jing and the GoToMeeting, so I don't want to start it again because we're probably going to have the same issue. But if the recording is good, I'm going to post that. If it's not good, what I can do is re-record that tutorial and then just post that with a little comment. But again, I'll be posting it on the user guide. And just to re-answer that question that I just answered, the recording from last week is on the user guide. Second one down here has the date of the call, and then you just click on it and you can see the recording. All right, the recording for this call will be posted in the same manner for today's date, and then like I said, I'll double check that, make sure that the little tutorial I went through was captured. All right, I think we're good now as far as that goes, but I don't see any other questions coming through about other topics. If you guys have any other questions regarding the Investment Dominator, anything you're stuck on this week, or questions about something else that we haven't talked about yet, then go ahead and enter that in. In the meantime, I'm going to go scroll through these comments again to see if I missed anything, and because there was a lot of comments about the screen being frozen, but I didn't actually see any questions. So give me 1 second here. I think. Okay. Yeah, I think that we're good with the questions. Now we do have one minute left here, so what I can do real quick is just show you guys an example of the GIS system. Tell us a little bit about having a virtual person. Okay, I did get a question just come in, so let me answer that. Doyle is asking, can you talk a little bit about having a virtual person work the list before downloading it into the Investment Dominator? Okay, so I think what you're talking about is a list, so like a virtual assistant that would be helping you in your list processing. So kind of backing up a little bit, in regards to list processing, anything to do with like Microsoft Excel or Microsoft Access, we actually don't necessarily look for a virtual assistant for that, meaning like somebody that just does administrative tasks, because typically what's going to be cheaper for you to do is actually to look for a data processor that all they do is data processing projects. And what we do is we look at Upwork.com, which is a outsourcing hub, and we look at also Fiverr.com. So let me just go there. Upwork.com is the one that we use quite a bit, and we'll post projects on there that have to do with data processing, basically taking a list from the county in a raw data format, or Agent Pro, or Rebo Gateway, wherever we get the list, and then we would send that to a data processor that we found on Upwork, and then they would work the list, making sure that, and it kind of goes to what we were talking about last week, making sure that all the field names are correct, that the first name and last name are split up properly, that the type field is filled out, all that kind of stuff a data processor would do, and they can do it quite quickly. Now, and the reason why I say we look for a data processor, not just a virtual assistant, is because virtual assistants typically are people that would like answer phones for you, maybe do administrative projects like gathering data for you, maybe calling the counties for you to get the list. But they don't necessarily, they're not the best people to utilize for actually processing data, right? That's a specific professional trade, and the people that do that all day long can do it very quickly, within a matter of minutes. They understand that kind of stuff quickly, and as long as you send them, all the data from the county and also the explanation of how it needs to be worked, which is like what is covered in our user guide, they can take those two pieces of information and basically create a list that you can then import into the Investment Dominator. So I believe that's what you're talking about, but that's kind of our process. We go on Upwork. Now, the way that Upwork works is you post a project. So you post a project up there, and we actually have a sample one, and I can actually include the wording for that. I'll post it, with the replay of this. and then you can view the sample wording for that project if you'd like, and kind of use it, tweak it if you need. But we use that project to find people that would help us process our data. All right, so I hope that answers your question there. Now, and Gordon, let's see. Yep. So Gordon, we will post the recording, so don't worry about that. Check back. I mean, last week I was able to post the recording really quickly, so even maybe later on today, go back to the user guide and check to see if we posted that, because typically it takes a few days, but last week it did render really quickly and I was able to post it. So go ahead and check back later on today, and you'll probably see the recording of this up on the user guide. All right, so I'm using a sample spreadsheet headings to import my county data, but can I import additional data that's included on the list, like legal description? Okay, Rhonda, yes. Well, the answer is yes and no. So if you go to our user guide and you type in import, and you go click on how to import your list, and this is what we kind of talked about last week. The default, or I should say, not the default, the minimum fields that you need to import are highlighted in red, or red I would say, and orange. Now, the field like legal description, so we don't have a legal description field, but we have a short legal description field. And this can be imported, and it's not mandatory, right? So you don't need this in your list to be able to import into the Investment Dominator, but some students do want to import the legal description. So we do allow them to import the short legal description. Now, there's a reason why we allow you to import the short legal description but not the long legal description, because for our properties, typically the long legal description is quite long, right? That's why it's called that. That's why they have two fields, right? A short and a long legal, because the actual long legal description for some properties, not for I would say not for the majority of properties, but for some properties, the legal description is quite long. It's like it can be up to like 4 pages I've seen. So that's not something that is can be exported from the county easily, because it a lot of times gets cut off by their system, right? Because there's a character count with the county system. And then there's also a character count when you import it into the Investment Dominator. So either way, it's not a good idea to import the long legal description. So the counties have what's called a short legal description, which is an abbreviated version of the legal description. Now, a short legal description is good enough for like your contracts and things like that. So when you're sending out an offer to owners, and usually this is why, this is the reason why students want to import it in the first place, is they're using one of Jack's advanced techniques, which is after they've already sent the neutral letter out to an area, they want to, and they already have done a few deals in that particular area, they're going to go back in there and they're going to make a second set of offers, right, in that same area. But in that set of offers, in that set of letters, they're actually going to send the offer amount with a contract right in the letter. So if you're doing that technique, you would then import the short legal description of the property, and you would do that by adding a field or a column in your spreadsheet or in your CSV file that says short legal description, and there you're going to put in your short legal descriptions from your county. Again, don't use the long one, because if it's longer than a certain character count, I don't know off the top of my head what that is, but it will cut it off. And if you have an incomplete legal description, then that's going to make for an invalid contract. But if you have a abbreviated, official short legal description, that's good enough. So so we do allow you to import that. So hopefully that answers your question, Rhonda. You can import it, but you got to use the short legal, and you got to use it in this exact header name, which is called short legal description. All right. All right. So let's see here. I'm sure how. Let's see. All right. So how to create custom documents that don't need to be adjusted every time you create them. In other words, the date in the signature line moves with the different length of names. Okay, so I'm not quite sure what that means, but I do know how. Let me answer your first question of how to create custom documents. So we haven't talked about that yet, but this is a good question. So obviously there is a user guide article on this, so I would go and check out the user guide. But generally speaking, you want to be under customize site right here, and then you want to be under custom documents. Now, if I understand the question correctly, you want to create a new custom document, and you're wondering about the date. You want the date. Oh, okay. I think I know what you're asking. You want a dynamic date, meaning a date that moves. That's the date that you generate the document, or like a couple days after you generate the document, kind of like we do in our neutral letter. In order to do that, you're actually going to use a merge field. So under where it says insert merge field, we have this merge field called current date. Now, this is going to return the date that you generate the letter. Okay, so today's date is going to return, April 10th, 2017. And now, if you go in tomorrow, it's going to say April 11th, 2017. So I think that's what you're asking me. Now, if you want it to always be like 3 days ahead or so, then you can do something like this, +3. So that what this will do is take today's date and add 3 days to it, and that will be the date that it shows. All this is covered, everything I'm talking about here is covered under this little help tip. So at the bottom of this tip, you can see it says you can use the merge field for current date +7. That would take the current date and add 7 days to it. Okay, so this is what's called a dynamic date, right? It gets generated by the system on the fly. Now, if you actually just typed in a date like 4/10 2017 or something like that, this is what's called a static date. This is not going to change. If you put this in your document, it's always going to show up like this, okay? But if you want it to always change, depending on the date, you're going to put in something that's called a merge field here. All right, so hopefully that answers your question. I think I understood it, but let me know if you had a follow-up question to that. All right, so let's see. Joan is asking about the recordings. Are the recordings shown as video under the user guide? Yes, they are. I think I covered that a few minutes ago, but basically here's the recording from last week, and the videos are going to be on the right-hand side. So this is the recording. And actually, this is kind of like a layout of the user guide. So all the videos, if there's a video attached, is going to be on the right-hand side. So just click on it, and it loads in a little section, a window here. Okay? All right, here. So Rhonda has a follow-up question, I guess, to the question she asked earlier about the short legal description or the legal description being added to the list. Do I add this heading to my sheet as the last column on my sheet and the name as as shown on this list? Yes. So to answer your question, yes, Rhonda, the way to do this is literally in your import file, you just add that new column. So, and here's an even easier way to do it. Go to land deals, then go to import. So this is like your process to go to import a list in the first place. Click on the sample list. This is going to download a sample list, right, with sample headings and everything like that. And when you open that up in Excel, it's going to show you these are all the possible fields that you can import with the correct names and everything. So, for example, column U is short legal description. So you can either copy this out and put this in your list, like if you have a new list here, if I can create a new tab here, then you could just literally go over here and paste it in there. That's not working out for me. So copy, paste into your list, and yes, you can add it to the end. It doesn't matter the order. as long as the name of it is the exact same right here. Or what we prefer you to do is, I mean, the reason we give you a sample list is that you actually take this list and put your data into it. Okay, so that's a different way of doing it. Is if you have your list from the county, you can just copy these headers out and put them in your list, or you can copy the data out of your county list and put them in this list. Now, only some of these, like first name, last name, address, are actual mandatory fields, right? The rest of them are just, you know, optional fields, including this short legal field, which is an optional one. But I would go about it that way. I would look at the sample list that we provide. That's just an easier way to go about it. But to answer your question, yes, you could just go to the user guide, go to that file, go to that import article, and then literally just highlight this and copy this and then paste this as one of your header labels in your list, just like this, and that will work. Okay? But again, you'd have to save it as a CSV and all that good stuff. All right, so let me close out of here for a second and go back. Where's the function for line spacing? This is normally needs to be reset after the customizing a document. Line spacing. I'm not quite sure what you're talking about, but to create line spacing in a customized document. All right, so first of all, let's just go to the customized document section again and open up a new custom document. And I'll just kind of show you around there. Line spacing, you know, if you have a word like one and then you want to put a line spacing, I'm just using my space bar, and I can create as many lines as I want in here. And then, you know, in between two words, right? So I'm not sure if you're talking about this line spacing or if you're talking about something else, or a line break. Now, one thing that I do want to show you is a line break, because if you hit your enter key, this creates what's called a paragraph. So this is a new paragraph. Now, if you just want to do one below that and you don't want a paragraph, then you actually hold down your control key and hit enter, or actually, sorry, shift and then enter, and this creates what's called a line break instead of a paragraph. So you can see here's a paragraph, here's a line break, and to do the line break, I'm holding shift and then enter. So I'm not sure if that answers your question, but here's line spacing in a custom document, and here's a line break, and here's a paragraph break. All right, so let's see. The follow-up question that Caesar asked about the date field. So I'm talking about the signature field, the date label under the date line moves left of center of the line. The date line. Okay, so I might have to follow up. We might have to like get on this question offline. I'm not quite sure what you're asking there. If you were adding the date field in a custom document, and if you're talking about the position of this, whether it's on the right or the left or anything, I'm not sure if your question involves the positioning of the date. But as far as this, let's see. As far as the signature field goes, there is no kind of correlation with the signature and the date. That's what I'm a little bit confused on. So we have the signature merge field, and then we have a date merge field. And I don't know if in your custom document you have them together, and there's some kind of they're basically, you're saying that they're positioned together, but there is no correlation between the two of them. They're separate fields. So we might have to take this question offline, where you can show me a little bit of an example of it. Maybe I'll take a look at your specific custom document. If you open up a ticket and tell me which custom document you're referring to, I'll take a look at it so I can see what you're actually talking about, because I'm not understanding exactly what you're saying about the signature fields and the date label. under the date line. So we'll take that one offline here. Let's see. How about the net offer in the back taxes? Okay, so Joe, I think you're referring to the custom document again, trying to calculate the net to seller like we do in our regular regular template. So again, if you look under the Add Custom Document template and you take a look at this little help tooltip or whatever you want to call it, you can use a merge field. And down on that first bullet point, it says you can use you can do simple math with our merge fields if it's a numeric merge field. So in our current cover letter, we do something like this. We take the and again, you have to be on the owner land table, land only table. And now I'm going to scroll down to where it says the offer amount, the property price or offer amount. So we take the amount we're offering. This is a numeric field. And we're going to minus the back taxes from this. All right. So if you take the, if you say minus back taxes, so we're going to look for the back taxes, property back taxes. So we can do simple math like this, but if you look up through the help section here or the little tooltip, it says you have to surround this with 2 brackets. So basically, in order for this to actually calculate, you got to do something like this, surrounded by 2 brackets on one end of it and surrounded by 2 brackets on the other end of it. What this is going to do is going to take the number. So let's say that this is 10,000, and then you're going to minus, 2,000 from that. It's going to return 8, and that would be your net to seller. Okay, that's exactly how we're calculating it on the built-in template, and you can absolutely recreate that in a custom document. Okay, so that's how you would do it. Let me know if that answers your question, Joe. And you're saying that you had some issues with that. So Joe, if you have issues with a custom document, open up a ticket. Let us know exactly what document that you're having issues with, what the issues are, and then we're actually going to go in there and take a look at your custom document, and we'll see exactly what's in there that you're doing incorrectly or what you can adjust. But if you're entering it in like this, it should calculate. But we'll take a look at it, your specific document, if you open up a ticket. Okay? All right, so let's see, vertical spacing. Rhonda was saying the vertical spacing. So I believe, so the vertical spacing, Rhonda, it has to do with line breaks, like I was talking about before. That's what I'm talking about. So you're either going to use your Enter key or you're going to use your Shift Enter key to create vertical spacing in your custom documents. Let's see here. All right, so when you insert a merge field, the different length names change the whole line. How do you make all the words in the line stay static? This is a good question. Everybody has different length names, and so depending on the length of their name, it's going to affect how your document looks. So there is no real good way to fix this. It's kind of like you have to kind of put it on its own separate line. That's the best way to handle it. So if it's all on one line and you have other text, then you run into this issue that and you can kind of see this issue in our built-in templates with the website name. If you have a very long website name, the letter looks different than if you have a very short website name, right? So it's the same issue. It's if the name is a longer name and you have other text on that same line, the whole document wrapping of the text is going to be affected. So the best way to handle that is to actually put the name on its own line. And then nothing else on it. So like in the case of dear first name, for example, a long name is not going to affect this, because if you put in the owner's or the caller's first name, which is used in the import, this is not going to be a problem. But if you have a bunch of text here and then on this one line, and then as part of that text you have the first name and maybe the last name in there, then this is going to be affected, because if a longer name is in here, then obviously your text is going to wrap around. Okay, so hopefully that answered your question, but the way to fix it is to put it on a separate line altogether so it's not affected. You can also, another trick to use is tables. So in here, there's a table command where you can actually create little cells and stuff, and you can put, information on one cell, for example, like your first name, and then your date on another cell, and then you kind of adjust the parameters of this table, and that will change the layout of where these things show up in your custom document. So to give you an example, our built-in template for the offer cover letter is something where we use tables to display that section where we're talking about, here's our offer, here's what you owe in back taxes, and here is our net offer to you. That section right there, where we have the text on the left-hand side and the actual values on the right-hand side of the screen, that's actually a table. So you can kind of reproduce that using this table option here. I'm not going to go too deep into it, but there are kind of like, look at the built-in parameters. Like, for example, if you don't want this border around here, you take the border out, you put 0 in there, and there's no border. So even though you have the functionality of the positioning of the table cells, you don't see the actual table in your letter. Okay, so take a look at these commands in here and just kind of play around with it. Unfortunately, the custom document section, a lot of it has to do with like you kind of like you're creating it, but you're also kind of testing it and then adjusting it however you like. And then once you get it perfect, then you can kind of reuse it over and over and over and over again. That's kind of like the whole concept with the custom document. But there's a reason why we have built-in templates, and we don't allow you to adjust them. And then we allow you to create your own custom templates, because that process of creating a custom template is a quite tedious process. You have to adjust it exactly the way you want it to look. And so you've got to kind of use all the options given to you here, and then take a look at a generated document and see how it generates, as a PDF, and see how it generates as a Word document, and then kind of go from there. And then once you get it perfect, then you kind of, it's pretty straightforward after that, because then it's just a matter of going under Generate Documents and then selecting your custom template. All right, so let me know if you have any other questions on that. Let's see. Oh, so I don't think we have any other comments or questions here. Yes, so these are parentheses, not brackets. There was a comment about that. You want to just follow the examples up here, but I will make an adjustment there. Thanks for pointing that out. And what else do we have? Do we have any other questions or comments coming through here? I think we're good, and we're a little over, so I want to, and it's a good point to end the call for today. Like I said, I will post the recording, including the beginning part of this that showed more of the tutorial part, which was not unfortunately displayed on this live call. So come back to the user guide probably at the end of the day here, and you'll see that recording probably. If not, check in tomorrow. You'll see the recording posted just under the user guide. Main page there should be at the top somewhere with the date for today. Okay, with that, the next call is Thursday, same time. Again, we'll try to keep it to a half hour. So if you have any questions in the meantime, go to the help section, enter your questions in there. The middle option always comes to me, so if you want to send me something, then open up a ticket in the middle, which is under, let me just show you that real quick again. Go to help. This middle option that I talk about is right here. Fill out this form. If you want me to look at a specific like list or something like that, attach the list here. That speeds everything up. If you have a screenshot of the issue, that's great. Send it to me. That speeds everything up. And all these questions come to me. I at least look at them. If I don't answer them Somebody else on the team answers them, but I look at all of these questions that come through the middle one. And the other thing is all of our answers are going to be displayed underneath under this history section. So if we reply, when we reply to you, which is usually the same day, if not the next day, it's going to be displayed underneath under the history, and we also send you an email. But if you don't get the email because it goes into your spam, come back, click on the middle section again, and then scroll down to the history, and then you should see your question that you submitted and our answer. All right, with that, I'll talk to you guys again on Thursday. All right, have a great day.